depending on the size of the organization, obviously. It's very common that other team members will go to the leader and say, we don't want to work with that person. I mean, that's usually a big highlight, you know. That's frequent. You can tell in meetings very often if somebody is domineering. But I'm also a great fan of peer reviews, quite frankly. The Army Rangers dealt with this. They called them spotlight rangers. When candidates were going through ranger school, they had to, in the past, they had this issue where these very talented ranger candidates and the instructors loved them. So they looked like they were great candidates. The problem is as soon as the spotlight was turned off, they were horrible people. So leadership didn't know. And so they implemented peer reviews. So now you have to be good at your job, your instructor has to like you, and your colleagues have to like you. And by like, I mean respect, and you're seen as a team player and help each other out. So if all you're doing is reviewing annually someone's performance, that's insufficient. There needs to be regular feedback mechanisms, and there needs to be an open dialogue and peer review, 360 review, where you all come into a room and you get to give each other feedback in real time. But yeah, it's probably because there aren't enough metrics. We can't force people. The old joke, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? One, but the light bulb has to really want to change. 3 of you have kids. So they have to want it, because if they're resistant to it, it's not going to work out. And so having those conversations all about growth, which is you want to create a growth mindset in the organization, which was we're all here to be better versions of ourselves. So I'll go back to that 360 technique that we've used. We take a team, it could be 2 people, it could be 10 people, it doesn't matter. 10 probably would be too many, but just because it would take forever. And what you do is you have everybody write on a piece of paper 3 things that they believe are their weaknesses or the places that they need more growth. 3 specific examples. They have to be specific examples. Then they write 3 of their biggest strengths or things that they believe they've grown the most. Again, 3 specific examples. And then all the answers are collated and shared amongst the team so everybody can read them. Then you come into a room together and you take turns, where first you read your biggest 3 weaknesses, and then everyone in the room can add to it. And we give a little speech before we do this, which is we come together and do this because we're trying to help each other grow. And we all have blind spots. We all have things that we don't understand or don't see. Sometimes we don't realize how we're coming across. And so the people in your teammates are going to tell you things that's very uncomfortable for them to tell you. They don't want to do this. They would rather not do this. But they're going to do this because they want to help you grow. And so the only thing, because we all take turns, the only thing you're allowed to say is thank you. You can't ask questions, you can't push back, you can't justify, you can't react. You can just say thank you. And if you go thank you, we shut that down pretty quickly. And the reason you say thank you is because I need to know this. Our rule is that if you have an emotional response, if you get angry or you get annoyed, it's probably true. If you have no reaction, you don't have to, if they're just like, no, that's not me, then you can ignore it and you can say thank you. But if you have an emotional response, it's probably true. And we go around, and it's an amazing space, because I think I have an open door policy, I think I'm approachable, but turns out I'm not as much as I like to think I am. And so in this environment, the most junior person on our team had an opportunity to tell me that there's something that I do that makes their job more difficult. I didn't know that. And she was very nervous to tell me, but this was a safe space in which she could.